Welcome back to the deep dive. In recent times, we've seen a significant and controversial deployment of federal agents and National Guard troops into American cities. This has raised critical questions about the rule of law, the Constitution, and the role of the military in domestic affairs. My guest today is Portland City Councilor Mitch Green, a former Army reservist who was deployed to Afghanistan. Councilor Green, thank you for joining me. Thanks for having me on, Rana. Councilor Green, you've recently issued a public message to active duty service members and veterans. Given the current political climate and the deployment of forces domestically, what is the core of your message? My message is simple but critical. Every service member, whether in the Guard, Reserve, or active duty, swears an oath to follow orders, but they also retain their rights as Americans. There is a duty to disobey an unlawful or unconstitutional order. That decision carries consequences, but it's a fundamental responsibility. Many troops feel like they are just a machine that can't refuse an order, but the law and our values say otherwise. That sounds clear in principle, but in practice, how does a service member navigate that incredibly difficult position? It's an immense challenge. I don't believe any National Guardsmen signed up to be deployed in an American city to suppress First Amendment rights. When that moment of moral conflict comes, you are not alone. Reach out to an attorney, organizations like About Face, Veterans Against the War, or even my office. There is a whole community of veterans ready to support those who question orders that contradict the Constitution. Let's talk about the situation on the ground in Portland, which has been used as a pretext for these deployments. From your perspective, what is the reality there? The public characterization is a complete misrepresentation. It's a sunny day here as we speak. The protests involve clergy, community members, and even people in whimsical costumes peacefully making their voices heard. The idea that this is a war-torn city or an insurrection is a bold-faced lie. Recent court orders have even affirmed that the legal justifications for these deployments are not met by the facts on the ground. This leads to a larger concern. To what extent is this a tactic to normalize military presence in our cities, potentially paving the way for its use during elections or other politically sensitive times? It's deeply concerning. We've seen rhetoric and actions that seem to be building a framework to legitimize a military response to domestic dissent. By placing troops on the ground outside the intent of the law, it tests what the public will tolerate. Once boots are on the ground, it becomes much harder to challenge power. This is a test of our democratic resilience. We've seen shocking videos of federal agents using aggressive tactics against clearly peaceful protesters. What does this tell you about the mission of these federal agents? Their actions, like using chemical agents on individuals in costumes, or a young woman simply swearing at them, show their purpose is not public safety. It is to inflict violence and chill free speech. This is happening in my district, and it is a violent contravention of our First Amendment rights. Finally, how are local leaders and law enforcement responding? It must be a difficult position for them. We are in constant communication. The key question we're grappling with is the jurisdiction of these federal agents. When they chase protesters far from federal property, what is the duty of local police to protect Portlanders? It's a complex legal area, but it's one we are actively working to address to ensure our citizens are protected from overreach. Councilor Green, this is a crucial conversation. Thank you for your time and for speaking so directly on this critical issue. Thank you, Rana. The balance between security and liberty is never more tested than in moments like these. The duty of a service member to their conscience and their constitution is a weighty matter. If you found this dive into the issue insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share your thoughts in the comments below respectfully. Until next time, this is Rana Asif for the Deep Dive.